Now we finally have all the basic tools that we need to circle back to our original question about the bridges of Konigsberg and come up with an answer. So I've got the graph that represents the city and its bridges here, and one more definition that explicitly defines, that gives a name to what we're trying to find in that diagram. So first, recall that a circuit is a walk that starts and stops at the same vertex and never repeats an edge. An Eulerian circuit, or an Euler circuit, which what a lot of textbooks call it, adds the additional condition that every vertex and every edge has to be crossed. Now, the circuit's requirement that edges can't repeat means that in an Euler circuit, every edge has to be crossed once, but vertices, they can be crossed multiple times. So we have here the theorem that is going to answer our Konigsberg bridge question. Now, if you're here just for the applications, this would be a good time to jump ahead to the next lecture where we're going to look at a bunch of specific examples. I'm going to spend the rest of this lecture actually walking through the proof of this thing. So if you're not interested in the proofs, go ahead and jump ahead and pick up with us there. So if you are here for the proofs, you notice here that this is an if and only if statement. When we have an if and only if statement, remember there are actually two things that we have to prove. First, we have to prove the conditional version, which would be if a graph has an Eulerian circuit, then it's connected and has this restriction on the degrees. And we also have to prove the converse. The converse would be if the graph is connected and has this restriction on the degrees, then it has an Eulerian circuit. So we're actually going to have to do two proofs here before we're done. So we're going to start off by showing the conditional version of the theorem. So we're going to assume that we have a graph G and that this graph has an Eulerian circuit. What we need to show is that this graph is both connected and that every vertex has even degree, specifically positive even degree. Showing that the graph is connected, that part's straightforward. If you pick any two vertices, then there has to be a path connecting them because, as we saw in the lemma at the end of the last lecture, every pair of vertices in an Eulerian circuit is connected by a path. And if every pair of vertices is connected, then the graph as a whole is connected. All right, so how about the degree part? Well, to see that the degree of every vertex is even, first, pick an arbitrary vertex from the graph, and let's call it V. Since the Eulerian circuit contains every edge, it must specifically contain every edge that's incident to V, right? Every edge that's coming into or out of our chosen vertex. All right, so next pick an arbitrary edge from the graph. And remember, such an edge has to exist because the definition requires that the graph has at least one edge. And assume that your path through the circuit starts in the middle of that edge. Right now, as you walk along the circuit, you'll eventually have to get to our vertex V, since the graph is connected and the circuit contains every vertex. Now, because this vertex wasn't our starting point, there has to be an edge leading out of this vertex, because they have to be able to get back around to the starting point somehow. If there aren't any more edges coming into V, then the degree of V is 2. 2 is even, and we're done. If there is another edge coming in, then by the same argument, there has to be another edge going out. Since every incoming edge has to be paired with a matching outgoing edge, the total number of incident edges has to be a multiple of 2, which means that it has to be even, which is what we wanted to prove. So at this point, you may be wondering why I took the slightly odd step of starting my circuit in the middle of an edge rather than at the vertex, like we usually do when we're describing a path within a graph. So to see why, take a look at this graph here. If I started my proof with let V be an arbitrary vertex and let V0 be another vertex that's the start of our circuit, I would have had a problem, since there is no other vertex here. Now, we could still have gotten through the proof. right? But we would have had to address this special case separately. And when you uncover one special case, you have to be a little concerned about whether or not there may be others. So by starting in the middle of an edge, which we knew had to exist, leading out of the starting point, which we also knew had to exist, we were able to avoid just some additional complications. Right? So it was just a way of avoiding having to handle some special cases and keeping the proof a little cleaner. So now we need to take a look at the converse. Converse says that if a graph is connected and the degree of every vertex is even, then that graph has an Eulerian circuit. So we're going to start with a connected graph that has their restrictions on the degree, and we're going to show that there's an Eulerian circuit in it. So to do this, I'm going to do what's called a constructive proof. I'm going to actually outline a procedure that you can use to find the Eulerian circuit within a graph that has one. So the way this works is I'm going to start by picking a vertex to be our starting point. You can pick any one you like. I've got a graph here to look at because I think it helps to illustrate the steps in the process. I'm going to pick V2. Now, once you pick that point, you need to plot a path around the circuit within the graph that starts and stops at V2. Right, such a path has to exist because the degree of every vertex is even. Right? So every vertex that I go into along the way has to have a corresponding edge coming back out. So I'm never going to get stuck at a vertex. And my chosen vertex has to have a path back in, again, because its degree is even. All right. So I've got my little path here, and I'm going to note that, right? I'm going to write it down. My path is V2 to V5 to V4. Now my next step is to remove all of the edges from the path that I just worked out here. Then I'm going to remove any vertices that were orphaned, if you will, that were left disconnected from the graph because of those edges that I removed. Step number 3, whatever we're up to here. Pick one of the remaining components. Doesn't matter which one. We're going to have to pick them all eventually. I'll pick the one on the left. You want to do the same process again. Right? The same process again. But I'm going to pick as my starting point the point that this component has in common with the parts that I just removed. Right? So that's going to be this vertex here, vertex V2 again. And there has to exist such a vertex because the original graph was connected. Now you're going to go through the process again. I'm going to start at V2 and I'm going to plot a path around this component that starts and stops at V2. Right, so if I do that, I'm going to get something like this one. V2 to V1 to V0 to V3 back to V2. Okay, now I'm going to put these two together. Right, I'm going to start at V2 again. Let me put my graph back in here. All right, we'll restore the original stuff. And I'm going to put these two together. I'm going to go from V2 to V1, V0, V3, V2. That walks around the left-hand component. Then I'm going to go from V2 to V5 to V4 to V2. That walks me around the right-hand component. Do it again. Wipe out everything, all of those vertices, wipe out all of those edges, wipe out all of the vertices that are left disconnected. Look at what's left. That's going to be that right-hand component over there. Do the process again with that component. Do this over and over and over again. Eventually, you're going to do everything. Right? Eventually, there aren't going to be edges left. This has to be true because, again, the definition of a graph says there's a finite number of vertices and edges. Once you've gone through all of these components, you're going to have an Eulerian circuit. You're going to have the circuit going through the original graph. So now that we've convinced ourselves that the theorem is true, in the next lecture, we're going to look at some specific examples of graphs that both have and don't have Eulerian circuits, so we can see how this theorem works in practice. Now, if you like this presentation, please remember to click on the like button below. And the links here will take you both to the previous lecture if you want to review, or ahead to the next lecture with the examples.